In January 2021, Omega launched a new Speedmaster Professional 3861. Whilst the watch looks very similar to the previous generation, there are some updates which I consider major upgrades, and therefore I went ahead and purchased the watch in April this year. In this video, I wanted to share with you my thoughts on the new Speedmaster Professional. Some of them are unique to this new model, and some are just my personal observations on the Moonwatch in general. I hope this video will give you more insights into what you can expect from owning the legendary Speedmaster Professional. Please remember to subscribe to my channel and hit the like button if you want to see more videos like this in the future. As a result of the upgrade and inflation, of course, Omega has increased their recommended retail price of the Speedy. The price increase varies depending on the model, but it generally ranges between 19 to 26%. Remember, always ask for a discount, as I was able to get one on the new model just 4 months after the release date. The previous Speedy comes in a big box, and you will receive extra goodies including 2 straps, a loop, a strap changing tool, and a medallion. With the increase in price, one would expect the new Speedmaster would come with the same number of goodies, if not more. But no, the new Speedmaster only comes with the watch itself, a cloth, and also a travel case. The new Speedmaster has a completely redesigned clasp. To my eyes, the new clasp looks much more refined and is a lot less bulky compared to the previous model. With that being said, one of the biggest complaints I have for the new Speedy is also on the clasp. When the micro adjustment is set to the outer position, the extended section leaves 2 gaps in view. Also note that the lines on the extension do not align with the main clasp. For me, the gaps and the misaligned lines are not very pleasing to look at. In fact, they look sloppy and makes me feel like the extension feature was just an afterthought. One of the new features of the new Speedy is the step dial. The dial shows a very different look depending on lighting conditions. It sometimes looks relatively flat, but in the right angle, it really comes to life and is much more interesting to look at. A small detail that I very much enjoy is the tilted hands. More specifically, the chronograph hand and the minute hand. This just adds another dimension to the dial when it is being viewed at an angle. For those who opt for the Sapphire Sandwich version, you will get an additional feature, the applied Omega logo. This is a nice touch, but in reality, you as the user probably wouldn't notice the difference between the applied logo and the printed logo. This is because when the chronograph function is not activated, the Omega logo is almost fully hidden behind the second hand. You will in fact only be greeted by the logo when the chronograph function is in use. So far, all the watches I own have applied hour markers, and the Speedmaster is the only watch in my collection which does not have applied markers. It is not until after I started wearing the Speedy that I realized my strong preference on raised applied markers. With that being said, the new Speedy does have a step dial and 3 sub-dials. I feel that there is enough going on with the Speedy, so I don't mind having non-applied markers on this particular model. Thanks to the Timeless Watch channel, the sharpness of the case must be addressed when one talks about the new Speedmaster. I'm happy to confirm that I can rub my fingers at the edge of the case 1,000 times without any concern. Yes, I'll just leave you with that. Whilst I don't really have a problem with the sharpness of the case, I do find the edges of the clasp a bit sharp. Both the protruding Omega logo and the end of the clasp have a very pronounced machine-cut finish. My wife did complain a few times that these sharp edges did scratch her when she accidentally bumped her hand against my wrist. The change to the end link of the new Speedmaster is a big plus for me. I love the new end links, as they are much more friendly for people with smaller wrists. However, I've started noticing this gap on the bracelet, which is particularly noticeable when the watch is on my wrist. Once I have seen it, I can never unsee it. One surprising element which I wasn't aware of until after having worn the Speedy for a while is that the watch is actually quite shiny. There aren't many polished areas, but when the light hits the crown, the pushes, and the bezel, they really popped and they are actually quite sparkly. This Omega Speedmaster is the very first watch I own which doesn't have a screw-down crown. Whilst many people have an issue with the crown being a bit small and therefore makes it harder to wind, I didn't find that an issue and I've gotten used to it very quickly. What I still haven't gotten used to is the fact that the crown is so difficult to pull out. This is especially problematic when you try to synchronize the second hand for precise time setting. I didn't have the same issue with my other watches which have screw-down crowns, as the crown of those watches usually pops out a bit more once unscrewed and leaves me plenty of room to pull the crown out to hack the second. This is not really a point that many people might notice, but it is worth pointing it out anyway. The 3861 movement is a cam system with horizontal clutch. This means that the chrono hand could sometimes jump when it is initiated. I am personally not too bothered by this, but if it does bother you, I would suggest you to look into watches which use a column wheel vertical clutch system, as they don't typically have this jumping hand issue. Having worn this Speedy for a few months, I cannot stop noticing that the sapphire crystal looks very dome from afar. Maybe it is due to the history of the watch. It often reminds me of the astronaut helmet. So here are all the things I wanted to make you aware of before you spend your money on the new Speedmaster, or any Speedy for that matter. I hope you find this video helpful, and it will mean a lot to me if you can give this video a like and subscribe to my new channel. Thank you.